start.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Y Podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's called.
You didn't even remember the name, jerk.
We have music or nah?
No, we never got that hooked up.
We need a marketing person.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Juju still does music.
Juju?
He dabbled in music a couple years ago.
I just Instagram DM'd him today.
Nice.
I just asked him if he thinks Mello Anthony is a monster now.
A monster?
Yeah, he had a good game, good preseason.
In preseason?
Yeah. Maybe that was literally the one. Do you think Mello is a monster? And he said, maybe he's, he had a good game.
I feel like I want to follow basketball, but I just don't have the attention span during the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I pick the team. I just like, okay, I'll watch the Wizards and pay attention to them because I can't watch. There's so many games.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I'll watch the marquee games.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch the Wizards, and that will keep me in the loop enough. But and it's also a very purposeful decision. Like, oh, that's something to do. I'll be a basketball fan.
Yeah. Anyway, we're live right now.
Oh yeah.
So my co-host Muhammad wants to know my politics.
I want to know where you stand. And, in our political climate, how you're faring, how you're thinking, what's on your mind.
Now, do you have any type of structure you want to go through, or do you just want me to?
Well, I thought it was interesting that you specifically had a primary concern about the environment, just because it's so obviously, like, our future generations have an issue, but we'll be fine for our lifetime.
Yeah.
But we're probably the last generation that'll be okay.
You think so?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I mean, so what surprised me about you having an environmental bend as a primary objective or primary concern is that it doesn't seem like there's a lot of headway on turning around our environmental problems.
No, not at all. We've taken a lot of steps back.
Yeah, and it's just there's a general complacency and a malaise in our culture, and without a huge collective effort, it doesn't work. So
yeah,
I'm surprised that would be something that you would feel was hugely important, just because it would take so much to get that ball rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to 2016, I don't know. I believed in kind of a legend of Trump more than the actual person. Well, I didn't. Primarily, I think, from the past 17 months it's been, I've been really surprised by how Republican he's been.
Yeah, it kind of fell in line.
Yeah, because I really believed in the whole, he used to be donate to Democrats thing. And like, I really thought he was just a negotiator. And somebody was like, okay, let's stop the BS. Let's just do what's smart instead of playing party politics. But he's done mostly everything he says is party politics.
Yeah.
And I didn't really expect that. So that's kind of where the Trump thing came from, was more of a fear of Hillary and a belief that Trump wasn't a party guy.
Yeah, a desire for an independent. White House, somebody who was actually thinking for themselves.
Yeah, because in the beginning of the campaign, he stirred up controversy by saying he wouldn't just automatically pick the eventual Republican nominee.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at some point he realized that he doesn't work without them.
Yeah.
And they realize that they don't work without him. And so there's this weird balance that they've struck where it's like where he just fell in line with what was Republican and they kind of allow him to be his own personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems that way. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where. It doesn't seem to me that. Well, I don't really know who the who are the Democratic people right now. I mean, I know Sanders, Warren.
Oh, as far as what? As far as like who's going to run in against Trump?
No, just kind of their voice right now.
What's the voice of the Democratic Party? I think they're trying to find their voice.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure out who and what they are because, I mean, it feels like on the national stage, you really can't be a corporate Democrat. No, it's like the corporate Democrats, your standard issue Hillary crats.
Mm-hmm.
That's a terrible term. That sounds like something the news would say.
Yeah.
Like a Hillary Democrat, and then you got your progressive bent, where it's like, whatever, we're fighting the power and we're populists and minimum wage redistribution,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. And that's the two potential lanes, and I don't think they've figured out where they want to go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting to see.
But it was, Trump sold himself as like outside of him being who he is,
mm-hmm.
personality-wise, there was a lane where he could have gone that true populist route. And so, the trade tariffs and that kind of stuff are more in that vein.
Mm-hmm.
But they went with huge corporate tax cuts and things like that, which was, to me, that was like, oh, okay, he's just a Republican. Yeah. He's just in line with Republicans, because that was ridiculous, in my view. A ridiculous direction to go.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it just really surprised me because I thought, once you're president, and I never thought he would want re-election.
Right.
I thought his 4 years were just going to be whatever he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It seems like he likes playing politics.
Yeah. Well, I think he likes being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, what do you do after you're the president? And you love attention. If you love attention and you're the president,
yeah,
and you do that for 4 years, well, then what? Like, there's no bigger spotlight on you. Exactly. People are not going to be talking about. Nobody talks about George W. Bush.
Yeah, that's weird. It disappears.
Not independent in comparison to the current administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he'd fare very well in the former president role. But that gets us off track. My original question really was, why the environment when it's broken, or when it seems so hopeless?
Well, because that's how I live. That's how I make my decisions, really. Just from what I eat to what I buy or don't buy, and that just looking at my life, that's what seems. That's what I want to do. I want to reuse plastic. I reuse pallets. I make shoes from scraps. Just the things that I consciously, but kind of subconsciously, the vein in my life has been reuse and concern for the environment. And the reason I kind of came out and said that, just kind of I want to be a single issue, is because you kind of get mired down in kind of the day-to-day political events.
Yeah.
And deciding which side you're for. most of the time.
Yeah, what team you're going to play for.
Yeah, that is just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I just don't have the capacity, but it's just easier to just be a single issue voter.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think for me, I've just kind of been in the lane, or I guess the decision. I think it was in like 2012. I was like, oh, like I think the Republican Party needs to die,
Mm-hmm.
like as a party, and like rebirth itself into something that is a little bit more, or a lot of bit more, to me, sane. Because I
Yeah.
just feel like the party it's a crazy world, and I spend a lot of time navigating the crazy of that world, and then trying to navigate the sensible part of it. But to me, a lot of it is just like, oh, these are bad faith actors. They're not serious. Like they want something, but it's not what they're saying they want isn't truth.
Mm.
And I can't even begin to engage with that. And so they need to go away and start over, or come back as something different, as a truly libertarian party or something more
Yeah.
genuine.
Yeah.
And that way, like our party tilt can have an honest conversation potentially, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to what it is now, where it's just rabble rousing and fake outrage and
Yeah. Like right now, it's just different aspects of bigger government.
yeah, exactly. Is who do we redistribute wealth to?
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing that still kind of confounds me is because I really thought after Romney lost that the Republican Party was dead.
Yeah, I thought that was the end of it as well.
And then they just started winning midterms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and they win in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And that the like solidarity of the party is incredible.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's kind of when you're dying out, really, you fight harder kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's a last gasp, and I didn't anticipate that would happen
Mm-hmm.
to the point where we elected Donald Trump as president, which blow. I swear, every like week I sit down and think, I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, if just really thinking about it and really thinking he's never been a politician, he made every faux pas in the book on his campaign.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Won.
Yeah, and then he won, and he won. He's the president. I'm sure he wakes up in the morning and does the same thing. Like, what?
Yeah. That was incredible, man.
And like I look, and so I remember being in it and being like, when we talked about this, I can't, and I don't even mean to make this a Trump specific thing, but it's just so incredible that like I'm still looking forward to the biopic of like the entire movement just building him in it, and then he won.
Yeah.
And then forever, President Donald Trump is like a part of it. It's like you have these historical social studies figures you read about in school, like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Jackson, Woodrow Wilson, Teddy Roosevelt, Donald Trump.
Yep. You can't erase it.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's a special thing. But no, that makes sense. The environmentalism. But see, in my mind, to me, you were a pretty libertarian thinker, right?
Yeah.
Kind of let people do what they do. And a lot of our conversations and stuff about race relations too, a lot of it was like, well, the majority is never really going to care that much. And so we have to just kind of let them be, because trying to convince them to care is kind of a fool's game.
Yeah, you got me pinned pretty well there.
And and I think that's a fair distillation of it. That's a fair argument. But then how do you transfer that to the environment? and assume that people are actually going to care about the environment when they just don't. It's hard to.
Yeah, it is.
You don't feel it. It's so indirect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, well, I think, I remember I wrote a paper in college, and it really much boiled down to the government's only, in the big scale of things, I think the government's true distinct purpose is morality.
Hmm.
Um, so I think if you have a government and they're super into green and sustainability, like even if people don't care, they'll, maybe it'll be, I don't know if the God complex is the right word, but they'll say, okay, the government's moral, the government,
Hmm.
wants what's best. And if they're pushing this, then, I want to be a good citizen. I don't want to feel like I'm not doing my part.
Yeah, and that becomes like a guiding force of the culture.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think I think that's a good thing the government has over people is kind of a conscience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a huge. That is the in my view is the primary role of government. I'm
Mhm.
just I think that not that applies not just to the environment but to race relations, to all kinds of things, right?
Mhm.
And so nobody was going to give their slaves away or
Yeah.
allow for civil rights unless the government forced it upon people, and then generations grew up under that rule of law, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so I think about it from the environment perspective, and that's in my view the right lane. But it should be applied the same way. The government saying, recycle, reduce, reuse,
Mhm.
and that's really programmed into us because like it or not, we are programmed, or we get programmed based on what the society's major thoughts are.
Yeah.
Then that's for the better. Then you want the government to be for the better, or whatever is life sustaining or peace sustaining, or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I don't know a better solution other than a total collapse of our society to get people to be more conscious.
Yeah,
Did you watch the do you watch Joe Rogan?
I do. I watch most of them. I mean, I watched. Yeah, I'd say I watched probably like one out of three.
Hmm. I don't remember. I don't know why. I don't remember which one it was from, but it was either Elon Musk or Neil deGrasse
Yeah,
Tyson.
I watched both of those.
But yeah, it just got me thinking how, well, I think Elon was just talking about warning about AI and stuff.
Hmm.
And it just got me thinking of we we really don't know the impact on what we're doing. I mean, because everything we do has been done for only 100 years.
Right.
And
Yeah,
we're
it's been
very
a
different
quick,
life.
a very quick acceleration of the
Yeah.
in our society.
And I mean, it doesn't seem like we're not going to get hit hard by something.
Yeah, we're like ripe for the picking of the
Mhm.
collapse of our entire way of living,
Exactly.
because we're so generally people are so comfortable
Yeah. They just think, oh, this comes
in
easy. Whatever.
their own like disconnection and whatever.
Mhm.
And yeah, well, so that's a bit scary though. If and so I think about it from, I guess, a more what I assume republicanism comes from, which is just a genuine distrust of anyone telling you what to do.
Mhm.
You know that in a scenario like AI, say that the government regulates and tries to, we can do AI, but the government's gonna regulate it, and now you've got the more potential moral hazard of the government not having the interest of the citizenry at heart. But and so with that assumption, then let's remove government from the picture because we assume that government is a bad actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think the democratic point of view is let's have a really good government. That's having a really good government is possible, and that's what we should be pursuing.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
And it's two like different. I mean, and so they both make sense depending on what you think happens when you give a government structure power.
Yeah, yeah. Have I ever told you my monk idea about government?
I don't think so.
I mean, it's pretty much just like if you truly want to be a government um, person, representative of people, that's your life and you're done.
Yeah.
You have government housing, you have government doctors or whatever, but you don't get to give speeches for billions of dollars or millions of dollars after you.
Yeah.
While you're in
office. Yeah. And you're done.
Yeah. That's what you're doing for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And
you're not a public person anymore.
Yeah. You become a true public servant in all aspects of the world. I think that's the right idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I think the way we should have it structured is entirely corporation driven, or is entirely profit motive driven, and so whoever has the most to offer has the loudest voice.
Yeah.
But then a government official has the benefit of saying, "Oh, I'm a public service." You think about when somebody dies. It's like, oh, he was a public servant for 30 years. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of. But how is he a public servant making $150,000 a year and now he's a, 50 millionaire?
Uh-huh.
The numbers don't add up.
No, not really.
And that always happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I think that if there's a way to impose it, and there probably is, even though people would tell you there's not, but then that's probably the best bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good bet as far as how do you remove that profit motive influence from the regulating structure of society.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not sure, but I was impressed by how the ability of Trump's campaign to kind of as a model for the future, maybe how he did pretty much all his campaigning on Twitter.
Yeah.
And if that's possible, I mean, I know still old people don't really use the internet, but
yeah, but eventually the people who are young now are going to become the old people, and so they'll still be on Twitter while the kids are on VR Live.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a possibility to help campaign finance barriers in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a benefit of that's a huge benefit of his coming to be, is that he's kind of he broke all the standard rules of politics, right? He's a gross person, and he's brash, and he's just not like you would never look. You don't want your friends or family or kids to grow up to be like him morally, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No one does. But when he is the way he is, he opens up this lane to give people potentially space to be imperfect. Even though maybe what I think is going to happen is that there's going to be a snapback where the next person who runs, whether it's not in the 2020 cycle, but after that, I think the next person who comes into office, people are going to be like, okay, time to get off this ride. We need somebody who's like super straight laced and just straight edge.
Yeah.
and that's what Mitt Romney runs.
Yeah.
Except for he's 1,000 years old, and so somebody like Mitt Romney runs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like boring, super boring.
Yeah.
Not like the Obama, overarching speeches. I think that's gone. Like I think people are done with listening to rhetoric,
Yeah.
and I think people will tire if they haven't already of just gross Americanism,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be like a snapback to just boring, so you don't have to think about politics every day.
Yeah. It's been weird the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, it's every day. Stephen Colbert will have a
Yeah.
YouTube video. It's like you're a late night host, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't just be a late night host.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
Political commentator. Jimmy Kimmel,
Seth Meyers talking about politics.
Entire bit is a political. It's weird. And I don't know if people are watching it because the kids watch YouTube, but YouTube is corporatized now too. So whatever it is they watch will probably become that too. Once that demographic starts being more aware or involved in that stuff, or become more boring.
Yeah, hopefully. Have you ever heard of Zephyr Teach Out?
Yeah.
So she had a tweet the other day, just kind of blowing off, just all of the Kavanaugh stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just get back to policies.
Yeah.
Let's get back to healthcare, Medicaid, environment.
Boring stuff.
Yeah, exactly what you were saying. She's just like, it was so refreshing to see that. Like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what
politics isn't supposed to be a show.
Mm-hmm.
Boring.
Yeah. I think we enjoyed the campaign so much we made it.
Kind of got addicted to it.
Yeah.
And then so people blame the media. People blame the media for that because they hype up everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what people watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I was on C-SPAN. I watched the entire, Dr. Ford Kavanaugh hearing, and I thought it was amazing. Just because I think it was amazing, like from a cultural moment perspective, to see people. Obviously somebody is telling the truth and somebody is lying, and you've got the entire country essentially fixated on this story.
Yeah.
It also got me thinking that like women's lives are kind of trash. Like from it's a bad deal.
It is. I've thought about it. Yeah.
That's a bad deal. And I you hear them say that, that's unfair to be a woman, and they don't get the respect and whatever, all that stuff that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't. And like they're, so if you're a young woman, so many of your interactions are not genuine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're interacting with you because they think they can extract something from your body.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I felt like that, like every time I talked to somebody or somebody was interested in what I had to say, that it may be just under the pretense of extracting my personal self from them, or for them, that's gotta just mess with your mind, right?
Yeah, you gotta be paranoid.
And so you have to, and then that transition from being like a girl to a sexual object in the world's view is really quick.
Yeah.
It happens too early for our society. You become 15, 16 years old, and all of a sudden you've got people talking to you differently. And to me, that's what I kept coming back to when I was when I was watching it was because it was like it would be like the hearing, and then it was C-SPAN, so like people were calling in during breaks, and an aside, I think C-SPAN is one of the most interesting channels in the world. From like I think the stupidest people call into C-SPAN. It's like the base of America.
Yeah.
It's like our foundation. It's like just the most surface level people are the ones who are dialing into C-SPAN. Like, who would be doing that?
Exactly.
But you get I got a glimpse into that, and so that's an aside. But in this instance, it was just a lot of women calling in, talking about their specific issues with sexual assault and whatever. And it was just, I don't know why now it was jarring to me, but it was. And it was like, man, that's trash.
Yeah, that's because at some point, when do you stop being offended and just say, okay, this is life?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have a choice, right?
Mhm.
You have to accept your scenario. You have to accept your existence. Otherwise, you're going to be in constant battle.
Yeah, it's tough.
And you can't just like not be a woman. You walk into the room and you're a woman. And so now people are operating with you differently. Whether not even all the time out of like some sort of animus, but just because you're a woman, that's just how we respond.
Yeah.
And it's gross.
Well, that's the funny thing. When I do go on 4chan,
as one might do.
it's funny when people like try to accuse people of being women. We can't just exist in this space where we're just people.
Right.
We're just so used to it being gendered that there has to be this person's talking in a little fruity or a little soft.
Is that right?
Yeah, they always try to accuse people of being women.
They out you as a woman.
Uh-huh.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, we really don't. We don't care about women. Not in the way that they would like to be cared about, which is as a serious person.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because it's just so hard to look past because we're just animals.
Yeah.
Hmm. But is there, I mean, there's a way to flip it, I think.
Yeah, but doesn't that require government intervention?
No, I mean, flip it in regards to using your power to your advantage.
To power as a woman?
Hmm.
To a point.
I mean, you have to really like give up on humanity as a good thing, but
Yeah. Yeah, you have to lose yourself to be to play in that game.
yeah,
And that's just a shame.
it is a shame.
Because let's say it's a shame to win or to be taken seriously as a person, to be
Mhm.
able to show up and be like, this is a serious person. You have to lose pretty much everything that makes you a woman, right?
Mhm.
Or that makes you not to say a woman. I don't want to get um not that makes you a woman, but like the feminine energy.
Yeah,
You have to dispose of that and come at it differently. But isn't there a value in there being a balance of masculine and feminine energy?
oh, of course.
So shouldn't we be embracing like womanhood, softness, the like that's an acceptable manifestation in our interactions.
If you're a soy boy.
Yeah, I think I'm becoming a soy boy. Like, hey, I love that term. I think it's such a good term, isn't it? Like, I don't know who came up with that, but that's like, yeah, he's a soy boy. Like, it fully captures exactly what it says.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't not picture that.
But yeah, I mean, it's just about accepting humanity, man, and stop trying to, these people are this way, these people are that way. And it's hard to do. I mean, it's hard to not to try to guess what people are before you give them a chance to speak,
Yeah.
Because then you have to like care.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes engagement and energy and effort.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that said, and so I give my soy boy, manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think like, well, isn't there's value also in the grossness of men, right? Like the aggression, the like monkey nature of masculinity.
For sure. You explore the world and conquer countries.
Yeah, to conquer and be better and that ego driven. I mean, I know I wouldn't have done anything without ego.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you wouldn't have done anything without ego. You know, the idea that you had to prove somebody wrong, even if that somebody didn't actually exist. It's
Yeah.
just like that feeling wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it accomplishes a lot.
I mean, you don't have to rape.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about trying to channel it, find find something to work on, as Coach Foster would say.
Wow, the wise and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Is he alive?
I believe he's in Atlanta.
Chilling?
I think so. Yeah, because his memory was getting bad.
Yeah, yeah. I know he was deteriorating.
Mm-hmm. But he wasn't that old.
Yeah,
I would assume he's still alive.
yeah. But when your brain starts to go, it just gets tough.
Oh yeah.
What do I know? I don't know anything. But yeah. So, and this isn't what this was supposed to be
That's
about,
okay.
but so how? Maybe I can bring it home. How, as a society, would we be able to embrace both energies or both presentations to the world, because I think they're both really important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they work great together.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if because they change once you don't have to have children anymore. And we're kind of at the point in a lot of developed countries where people are just having children is more of a choice than just
It's
something.
a bad deal.
Yeah.
Outside of like the biological imperative, your that urge to leave a legacy, or all
Yeah.
the nonsense
But
people talk.
once you get past that, then it's just like, no, not for me.
Yeah, I mean, life is way better.
Mm-hmm.
Not.
And so if you remove that core component of the reason you're alive, then you have to kind of reformat all of your personalities to fit a new plane of existence.
Yeah. But I guess that's why tradition is important, or not, maybe not important, but tradition is easier
Yeah, yeah, very much easier.
because you don't have to reformulate a way of living or a reason to live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Yeah.
But my thesis year, a professor explained to me what tradition is.
Mm.
It's not doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, say, what's an example? I don't know. Like, let's say Takashi, Tekashi 6
Yeah. Yeah. Recently, I found out who he was.
Yeah. So let's say Takashi 6 9 was as good as Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
He would be keeping the tradition of rap alive for a new era,
All right.
but it would still be tradition. So it's kind of like trying to finding the traditional way to align yourself for a new time.
But would he be more valuable if he was that? Or is he valuable because he's like pushing a different expanse of that world?
Yeah, I could make the argument that Tekashi 6 9 is traditional because when Eminem came on the scene, at least for me, he was the first white rapper I knew.
Sure.
I mean, the thing about Eminem has nothing to do with my talk. Is that just the way he told stories and the things he talked about were just so groundbreaking
Yeah.
for rap. So you can compare that with Tekashi, which he's 100% energy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he says. He's a clown with rainbow hair that's yelling and getting you hype.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like unapologetically
Yeah.
hype.
Mm-hmm. And so in that vein, it's kind of is the same kind of a broadening of a genre.
Now, is that not the tradition of like, didn't Waka Flocka? Maybe he didn't create that, but he pushed that lane.
Yeah, he was an early pusher.
Like an early version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, I'm just going to get people hyped.
Yeah. Don't look me up on Rap Genius. Just
yeah. There's nothing else there.
Yeah. It would be interesting to like see like somebody that's really into rap to kind of see a chart where they can point out lineages of movements. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that'd be an interesting read, like the history, not necessarily the history of rap, but like the coaching tree. What you see like football coaching trees. Just like I don't know, Marty Schottenheimer birthed somebody within the birth of this, and you'd see like, okay, rap began, and then you get like, so I was saying Waka Flocka, but I was like, well, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys,
he did a lot.
Yin Yang Twins. I mean, you can come in the Yin Yang Twins. They were a version of that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta tell you some bad news.
All right, we got to pause for a second.
Okay.
Bad news afoot. What happened?
I was playing with Merla.
She peed on the floor.
And I just went to upload a cute video of her sitting. And I came back down and she pooped and peed in the dining room.
Get out of here.
Yep. Pooped and peed.
Why?
I told her no. No.
Why would she do that?
I don't know. She's being bad. She's bad because I went upstairs to do it. So she decided to retaliate. Poop. I knew it because I could smell it.
I'm sure you could.
So she's a bad bus. She's downstairs by herself. She's mad at me. She went outside not too long ago. I never thought that she should poop, but she should have been fine. Did we take her out after Daddy? Taco?
Yeah. Right. You took her out right after. I took her out.
Oh yeah, right we did. She's being bad.
And I don't know how long you stayed out there with her, but she didn't.
I was out there alone.
I believe
she
it.
Didn't poop. She pees over time.
Yeah, she didn't pee on command.
She just pooped and peed in the bathroom. She got mad at me because I came up here and decided to poop. So I told her, no, bad. She's laying down.
Okay.
So I'll let you know that you shouldn't like your child.
Don't worry, I'm a killer.
No.
Killer at all. So that's what I'm dealing with at home.
Mm-hmm. Now you have home life things to deal with.
Yeah, it's like manufactured problems.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like I was saying, and I'm sure there's. I mean, I'm not a musical historian at all,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that Atlanta crunk movement was birthed by something else.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
I mean, of course it was, but was that just an integration of, like, I don't know, metal or some other music genre seeping in and then pushing hip hop and pushing rap to something else?
Yeah.
Or was that the white man?
What?
Well,
What, trying to dumb us down?
huh?
Trying to dumb us
Not
down?
really dumb us down, because it's not. I don't think it's that direct.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's if you I think and I don't think it's the white man per se as a racial thing. I mean it as in a more generic
I
way.
know what you mean.
But just the white man is just a corporate structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the white man ruined YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
He just ruins things. But it's not racial
Yeah.
necessarily. It's just a term.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and so it's a way to make it much more easy to digest. And so it has just this ridiculous mass appeal. It's sugar,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just junk food. And it feels good, it tastes good, but it's just empty calories of,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely nothing there.
which is fine if you don't only like if your entire media and information consumption isn't empty calories.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a general understanding of the world and you're able to decipher information and blah blah blah, it's okay to have some sugar, right?
Yeah.
Because you got fiber in your diet. But if you don't have any fiber in your diet and you're just eating straight sugar, I feel like that ruins you and ruins your mind. And so, but they're feeding us sugar because it's much easier to produce.
Yeah.
J. Cole is an amazing artist and he does well.
Yes.
And there's a lane for that, and I'm not dismissing that. But it's a lot harder to digest a Lupe Fiasco album
Mm-hmm.
or a Kendrick Lamar album. And I'm speaking mainstream people I don't know anything about. I don't dig deep enough to know what's going on with, like, I don't know, Brother Ali or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that lane of rap, hip hop. But, it's a lot harder to digest and create something really dense and rich
Yeah.
than it is to create something that's just empty, that's Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're independent and you're trying to you're trying to make money, of course you're going to produce, you're just going to make a really sugary, you're going to be the Applebee's of your genre.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be really, really technically good
Mm-hmm.
and interesting.
Yeah. It's rare. It's rare for that to happen.
And so I said I was going to take that home, but I didn't know how. I didn't get there, did I?
No.
No, but isn't politics kind of sugar?
It's become that.
I mean, it's kind of what you were saying. It's like it'd be nice to get back to policy, like you were saying with Zephyr Teach Out.
Mhm.
Please, it'd be nice to just get back to like actual stuff, like
Yeah.
boring policy stuff. But we're not there. We're just eating sugar, and we're just addicted to it, and we can't get off
Mhm.
this. We're just being fed this.
Yeah, it's just every little thing about the Kavanaugh case is just a new lead story every day. And got drunk and threw glass or something at a party, and
Yeah.
like, I mean, and I don't even follow anything really closely.
Yeah. I mean, I
Twitter from
watched that
time to
hearing. I
time.
haven't really paid attention to the what after,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, why would I pay attention to that?
Yeah.
You know, and I guess that's the feeling I get with a lot of, at least in, like, yeah, politics in general. It's like, why would I spend my time and energy on that? Because I know, and I think that also stems from the fact, like, okay, I know I'm not voting for Republicans. Like, I know that I'm on a boycott.
Mm-hmm.
So until they fix, like, I can check in and say, oh, are they still what I think they are?
Mm-hmm.
Are they still bad faith actors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we can't allow for them to exist, at least under my control.
Well, what do you think the Republicans want that you think are bad faith actors?
I think it's about, and again, this is my bias because they probably say the same thing about Democrats. I think it's just about maintenance of power,
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily power, but there's a corporate structure, and they believe that by acquiescing to all of that, then the country is better off.
Yeah.
And I don't buy that. It's true because I've worked in corporate structures, and I know that, I mean, from what I see, there's no feeling there. They're not people.
Yeah.
There's not. So a corporate structure is toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just aggressive. It's just overbearing. It's just pushing. It doesn't have a femininity to it,
Yeah.
right? And so you can't just feed that beast. You have to come home and nurture the country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Democrats are. Plus they're, they're the Democrat is the feminine energy that's missing. And if you have two power structures, to me, the country is corporate power and government regulation. That's the overarching, conflict.
Yeah.
And corporate power is won because both parties that exist feed it
Mm-hmm.
in different capacities. And I think the Democrats at least give the impression that they care and
Yeah.
have a balance of feminine energy in them, or at least they have people who have that in them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Republicans are like unapologetically masculine, just rah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a dangerous way to be when you're trying to take in as many people,
Mm-hmm.
and deal with as many people as exist in the country.
Okay. See that. Well, see, that's the confounding thing about the Hillary crat class. Isn't that just weird?
Yeah.
Then to call yourself a Democrat? Then to choose Tim Kaine as your running mate? That's probably honestly it for me. I was just like, come on, man.
Who is she gonna choose?
I don't know, somebody progressive,
But she doesn't. That's not her lane.
but it's strategic though. Like,
Yeah,
how could you ignore all of Bernie's support?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a bad. It was a like Tim Kaine. I mean, my thing. Tim Kaine is like innocuous,
Uh,
so it becomes like, okay, this is a Hillary ticket.
mm,
Whereas if it was a Hillary Warren ticket, then I mean that's too many women, and maybe they would lose anyway. But then you're saying, okay, this is our this is our this is our conversation. Is it's progressivism versus corporatism, and we're going to have the conversation internally, which I think would have been the right idea. But I think she placed the bet that okay, they're electing Donald Trump.
yeah.
Like that's wild. So let me just I can play him one on one,
Yeah,
and there doesn't need to be another factor in the room. And then I win, and I can do what I want. I can,
true.
I'm the winner. And
Hmm.
she came. I mean, she came very close.
Yeah, very close.
So I don't know if you could say it was necessarily a bad strategy. I mean, she lost, so it was. But she came close.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe it shouldn't have been close. Maybe that's the
Yeah, I mean, looking at it from the outside, why would it have been close?
yeah.
Not only close, but you lost.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like it was like I mean those debates, man.
Yeah,
Like what are you talking about? This is our country, the most powerful country in the world, and we're a joke.
yeah.
Like we're a show. We're a
Hmm.
married at first sight.
You brought accusers to the debate.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, sugar.
Did you ever go back and watch them?
I've watched a couple. Yeah, I've watched. Well, I haven't watched a couple. I watched one of them
Yeah,
some months back.
yeah, me too. Just weird.
It's weird. It's a bizarre place, and
Hmm.
it feels different now than it did then.
Yeah,
Because then it was just it's anticipated. It's like reading about a war. You read about the Civil War. Like to me, I have to remind myself that people didn't know how it was going to end.
yeah.
They just were doing it to trying to accomplish their goals, but they didn't know they were going to win or lose
Hmm.
or whatever. They're just going. Life is like that. And so when you're you're watching a debate from October 2016, it's like, yeah, I don't know who's going to win this. And so you watch it now and it's, yeah, and he won. And it comes from that lens and it's like, man, and it becomes like bizarre.
Hmm. Well, do you know my politics now?
No,
No?
no. Well, I understand the single issue voter thing.
Okay,
You know what I don't understand?
sure.
The nationalism.
Okay. Nationalism is my view is that you can only care about so much in life.
Hmm.
You can only know so much. So I can only speak on things from an American perspective, regardless of what I try to be.
Right.
I know America. So you have to foster American values, American economies, and I think it's important not to get too spread out looking at the world's problems. when you can solve problems at home is that train of thought.
Mhm. So why? I understand that. I understand like the capacity to genuinely care
Mm-hmm.
is small.
Yeah.
But I think it's way smaller than the country.
True.
It's your, at best, it's your city,
Yeah.
right? But really, it's yourself, your family, and your local community if you're connected to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And anybody, people who have an outsized version of caring become activists in my mind. Like that's what an activist is somebody who genuinely can invest their brain and energy into something that's greater than their immediate self and their immediate surroundings, right?
Yeah.
Which is, admirable.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my view is while we can't do that individually, we can outsource that care to the government and say, okay, so I'm going to personally focus on my stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the tasks that I'm going to, have my government take care of is the caring about refugees and earthquakes and war and bad, evil stuff going on outside of our borders, so that I can focus on my stuff and also feel like I haven't given short shrift to the rest of the world.
Okay. Yeah, I see that argument.
But the argument against that in my mind is, but there's a specific amount of resources that can be allocated, and wouldn't it be better to allocate them primarily at home?
Yeah, exactly.
And so if we were really internally focused and it was just we take all that outsourced care and bring it home, and we tell our government, hey, focus on everything at home and make sure that everyone's okay.
Yeah.
To me, that's a reasonable position.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens, or is then the rest of the world gets unruly, and then you get terrorism and just unrest and uneasiness.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have such a big country with a lot of influence, then it kind of becomes your burden.
Yeah.
So I kind of see that too. I don't know. I don't know how long this whole nation thing is gonna last.
Well,
We've
had the conversation. We need to break it up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because we're too many different cultures trying to exist as one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole different.
We already did that one.
Yeah, we already did that show. But I still come back to it. It's like a divorce. It's like America's in a divorce, and maybe we've been going through this divorce since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the Civil War, and we separated. Decided, you know what?
Let's try to make this work.
Yeah, let's try to make this work after fighting it out for years, and we've just been kind of making it work. We sleep in separate beds. We do. We sleep in separate. But we're doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
But now maybe the kids are 18. Maybe the kids are old enough now that it's time to,
Yeah, just be adult about it.
Yeah. We're not the same. We don't have the same value system.
Not at all.
We just don't think about things the same way.
Hmm. Well, maybe things are getting easier, like moving wise, and that's the good thing about states having a certain amount of power and having laws is that
Yeah,
you can kind of pick and choose if you really wanted to.
yeah, but only that only works if you have vouchers to move,
Yeah,
right? You get stuck in Mississippi, and now what are you supposed to do?
make Mississippi great.
Yeah, you can try. You can try,
Yeah,
but whew, that's a tough task. It's a tall order.
it is. And life hits you really hard a lot of times.
Yeah,
So it's like tough to make it.
yeah, it is. Most don't.
Yeah. I mean it's the weird, man. Like working at McDonald's,
Yeah,
like in I'm like trying to pick a new career because my job's not enough and stuff. It's like
yeah,
I don't work at McDonald's though.
yeah. Every day.
It's weird. It's a weird place to be in because I mean, because I have to live my life and I have to try to be the best I can. But at the same time, it's just weird relatively what other people's lives and struggles they go through.
Yeah.
Like the saddest thing is when I've noticed it a couple times when like workers will bring their kid in and they're like in the lobby area.
Yeah, and they just have nowhere to be.
Yeah, it's really sad because the kid's just bored out of their mind and it's just a situation.
Yeah, so how do you make it out of that? How do you make it out of stuck? You have to be excellent,
Mm-hmm.
and not everyone can be excellent, and that's asking too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's where the conversation, in my view, about government's role has to start. And that's why you vote Bernie Sanders in 2016.
Can't vote for Bernie Sanders in 2016.
Well, I mean, so that's my reason for supporting Bernie in 2016
Okay. Yeah.
is
Yeah, I
because
mean,
I think that's where his conversation was essentially coming from.
mhm.
Is that if you're average and you're poor, you have no shot. If you're average and you're rich, you're fine.
Yeah. There has to be a way to move.
Yeah, if you're like average competency should yield average results.
Hmm. You shouldn't be punished for your
You
situation.
shouldn't be stuck.
True. Yeah, I would have voted for him. Remember when him and Trump were going to have a debate? That was going to be great.
Yeah, I guess.
Just completely step outside the bounds of the process.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would have been another just break the rules so that when we have to pick up the pieces,
Hmm.
we've got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I understand the concept of nationalism. I don't know, man. People are people.
Yeah,
They're just people, and they're the same.
they are. They're very similar.
It's just, people are just history, things that happen in history. in your region, and now that's why you are how you are. You know, I speak German because all these people in my line of succession speak German.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have these specific values because that's how I was raised.
We have a viewer.
You know, it's just so linear.
Yeah, and to make any kind of a change, you have to like dedicate your life to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to constantly, and you think about that from a parenting perspective. You know, people were like, "Oh, I'd never be like my parent."
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to one of my kids about that, where she was saying like, you know, her relationship with her mother isn't very good and isn't very open, and she had some conflict with her mother. And one of the things her mom said was, where she was telling her mom essentially that we don't have a close relationship because you don't like you when I tell you something, you explode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just withhold information from you. And her mother told her, like, was kind of sort of, I guess, was shocked or hurt by that statement,
Mm-hmm.
because she was like, oh, that's the relationship that I had with my mother. And I would never want that. Like, I always didn't want that relationship with my daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here I am facing this exact same thing.
Yeah.
And that's just how things happen, unless you every day commit yourself to, okay, I'm not my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Yeah.
You also have to go to work and, you know, whatever else there is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just not enough time or energy in the day to be different or better.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Listen to Takashi, man.
Is that the answer?
Yes, just let it happen. No, because I mean, I think that's what makes us human is that we have ambition. So try to enjoy life and feel like you've progressed from somewhere.
Or do you just not have kids and be like, well, I gotta end this line.
I guess if that's what you really want.
Like this gene pool is not fit to continue. I feel like more people probably should make that decision.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're genuinely unhappy,
Mm-hmm.
the last thing you should do is continue that experience.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like an argument for suicide, and it's not.
Oh my gosh.
But what I mean is, like, obviously, for you like, don't have a kid. Work on your stuff. Try and get happy. Work towards happiness
Mm-hmm.
in your own life, but don't add another person to the picture.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't really think through all that stuff.
Yeah, they should.
Maybe not. Maybe because we wouldn't have as many people in the world if we thought like.
Yeah, and then maybe, and like we don't know how the world's going to change, so we don't know like what's going to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because different people are valuable at different times, right? And so like when people are great in a particular era, you can look back to an era 50 years ago and be like, yeah, those characteristics wouldn't have worked out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe the people 50 years from now are going to be, you know, are going to need whatever it is you have to offer.
Yeah.
Or your progeny has to offer.
Like I feel a little type of way when you see like just big guys that are strong.
Yeah, and like you missed your chance.
Would have been so useful.
Yeah.
But now you're just working security or
Yeah, you're marginally useful.
Mm-hmm.
Where you would have been the king, you would have been a king, not a king, but like
Yeah.
people really looked up to you.
Yeah. The best blacksmith in town.
Yeah, yeah, man, you miss your era. Well, and that's why sports kind of exist, right? It's like sports are tradition of the era of an era where brute strength or body movement was the primary determinant of success.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Your ability to develop physical skill or strength. And so whatever is in us, like, is driven towards that.
Mm-hmm.
That prove yourself. Whereas like nobody's watching a chess competition or whatever things people are saying to that is valuable in today's world, or computer coding competition. That's super boring.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the most valuable people in our world today, right? Is somebody who can manipulate software.
Yeah.
Like essentially engineers who can manipulate hardware and programmers who can manipulate software. That's where our world is.
Yeah, that's the new space. That's where it's happening, man.
But then when a society collapses, that security guard is going to be pretty useful.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of maybe a subconscious reason why I made sure I knew how to do construction. Just to have it in my belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I think I have a good understanding of your pulse on that. Is like, to be a person, you should be sustainable. You should be able to exist regardless of what, in as many scenarios that may happen.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows how life's going to collapse? Like, what if we became, like, so roles of countries switch. The Persian Empire was a great empire at one point. The African, the Egyptian Empire was a great empire at one point, and people are going up and down the Nile and exchanging information and goods and gifts, whatever. The American Empire is still existent, but it's like it's a hollow power.
Yeah, it is.
And we don't actually acknowledge how manipulative we are towards the outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, what I mean by that is the populace of America doesn't actually think about what we do with other countries.
Yeah.
We just don't care, really. As long as we don't see it every day, it's out of mind, and we're okay with that. We made an acceptance. You see somebody post something about Palestinians or Syrians or Latin America or whatever stuff we've done throughout our history. And it's like, yeah, we did some bad stuff, and you keep scrolling.
Yeah.
And you don't actually engage with it, because if you were to engage, and it's kind of what you were saying, if you were to engage with it every time, you're lost. You're going to be out of energy by the halfway through the day.
Yeah. It's hard.
But we're going to go away at some point.
Mm-hmm.
As far as being dominant and influential, and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And how do we survive that? Do we survive that? Why survive that?
I think it just comes down to luck at that point when things change.
Yeah, because you can't tell how it's going to change unless it's, artificial intelligence. And even if you say, oh yeah, it's artificial intelligence, what does that mean? How's that going to manifest itself?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the one who creates the monster?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, paper football leagues could go up in value overnight. All of a sudden, We're great and geniuses.
Yeah. I mean, I could go for a paper football league. I could do that right now. But then there's something really organic about that. Just baseness, right? It's you're just connected to what you're doing and there isn't an outside influence dictating it. It's not on a machine. It's not on a platform that you don't have control over that can go away. It's just a piece of paper with grid lines on it.
Yeah, exactly. You're the god of everything that happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you cheat.
Sometimes you cheat. It doesn't make sense that your team, the team that is undefeated, is going to lose to a team with one win in 7 games. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, he'll catch the ball even though you rolled a 1.
Of course.
That roll was on carpet anyway. We know.
Only roll
on hardwood.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so you play paper football, or you outsource that and just watch football, or become a basketball fan, or engage with something you don't have any control over, but you own, but hold on to it with as much passion as if you do.
Yeah.
So have you decided how you're voting?
No, I actually got a thing in the mail for the next
absentee ballot.
So I looked through it a little bit the other day. But
do you get mad when they tell you to vote for 2 judges and there's only 2 on the ballot?
I don't remember that happening to me, but that would be stupid.
That makes me very upset. It happens every time I vote.
Really?
Yeah, what am I supposed to do with this? B, how do I evaluate a judge on a ballot?
Yeah. Should have did your research.
Yeah, I do my research. I go to everybody's stuff before I vote. But it's a judge. They don't really run campaigns.
True.
And B, it doesn't matter because there's 2 on the ballot and 2 are going to be elected. Or the Board of Education. I have no idea. No idea. How am I supposed to vote for that?
I don't know. That's how they get you.
What do you guys have on the ballot this year?
We have some voter rights or voter ID stuff.
Oh yeah? Tell me about that. What's your mind about that?
I think voter ID. But you should make a good effort to get people to get voter ID as well.
Do they have to pay for it?
Maybe. I have to pay for mine.
Yeah, but you're employed.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would be simple enough to. But it just seems really. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have ID. It just seems really hard to navigate the world without it.
Yeah. You'd think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And this is one of the things, and maybe this is a bias, but I'm like, obviously there should be a way to verify who's voting, right? And I don't know because I don't actually vote in person. I vote absentee every year, and nobody actually counts my ballot. But there should be a way to verify. I don't think that shouldn't be a controversial thought.
Yeah.
But nobody's actually having the conversation of, okay, how do we fix that issue?
Yeah.
Because whenever it's brought up, if it is an issue, and maybe it's not even an issue, but it's still something that could potentially make us vulnerable to fraud.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you fix it? I don't know, but they're smart people and they should be able to fix it. That seems like a fairly simple, if you can negotiate trade deals with countries,
Yeah.
you can fix getting people voter ID. You should be able to mail out, IDs to everyone. We can find people. If somebody pays taxes, they should be registered. They file their tax return, they should be registered to vote.
It's good. That's a good one.
I guess it's good, but obviously it hasn't been done, so there's a problem with it, right?
Yeah.
And so then people are going to say, well, what about people who don't file taxes because they don't make any money?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. Them too.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way to register them.
Yeah, I mean, if there was more like, I guess you would just have to have a task force where they go to community centers or something and have voter ID day or ID day in general. Because
Or when you buy groceries, would you like to register to vote today?
yeah.
Everybody buys groceries, right?
Social media had a thing a couple weeks ago, at least for North Carolina people, where Twitter and Instagram had.
Oh, yeah, registration day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that don't have IDs don't.
yeah, social media is just sugar.
Yeah.
A bunch of people talking to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting when we start to have an honest look at social media, because I think it's easy to overvalue it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to have a task force for.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a difficult task. But people don't have money, and there's not a lot of, or there hasn't been a lot of impetus to vote in general. Our voter turnout is not very good or very high. And, I think people should have the option to not vote, obviously. Yeah. But it feels like we could almost automatically register people and get them IDs, because as vast as the government's ability to monitor us,
For
I think they could use that to give us an ID and tell us who we are and make sure that other people can tell who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So are you voting for voter ID in Maryland, or not Maryland, North Carolina?
I think so. Yeah, I think you have to verify who's voting. I think that's fundamental.
Well, and the Democrats would say that's not a problem if you're trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. We don't want to discourage people from voting, do we?
Well, we don't want Russian hackers or being bussed into vote.
Yeah. I feel the way about voter ID laws as I do about, I don't know, abortion. I'm just kind of indifferent to it. Like, it's fine. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I think it's fine. I'm willing to go with the way the wind blows on that. And that's what I wish a politician would say.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Like, yeah, I don't care about that issue. So whatever you guys think is fine. I don't have to care strongly about everything.
Mhm.
You know, people aren't voting for me because they think I'm passionate about, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, here's the three things I'm passionate about, and the rest of it, like, we'll figure it out and we'll talk through it. But like, I don't hold a strong opinion
Yeah.
because you can't care about everything. You can't know about everything.
Can't. Really can't.
And we try and pretend that our candidates can.
Hmm.
It's like when people ask, like state level candidates about national or international issues.
Yeah.
You're a state representative, and people are asking, "Oh, what do you feel about the war in Iraq?" I don't know. I'm never going to vote on that. That's not the job I'm up for,
Yeah.
and it's not relevant. You wouldn't ask your accountant that. No, you wouldn't ask the lawyer that because it just doesn't matter in the transaction that you're having with them.
Hmm.
So maybe I should vote for Republicans at the local level.
Whoa.
No, I mean I shouldn't because the party needs to die. But you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're a Republican running for mayor of my city doesn't matter what they think about, war.
Mhm.
But how could you be a Republican in this morally dubious time to be a Republican?
Well, if you differentiate yourself as a sort of a principled Republican.
Yeah, but then you have to be able to say, yeah, that's not what I'm doing. I don't deal with those guys.
Yeah. Well, McCain was kind of like that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know enough about him. I boycotted him because I didn't want people to. I don't like when people pretend to care about stuff. Like when he died, I was
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when he died.
ranting to Ashley about this. Like, I'm tired of reading statuses that say, "Well, I didn't agree with his politics, but
True
blah blah."
American hero.
Yeah, don't say that. Just like somebody else's status.
Oh my gosh, you have to get in front of it though.
No, it's already been said.
Got to get your own likes.
Nope, it's already been said. Let's just share the the like one universal. So that's what Facebook should do. It's have just like a universal status
Oh my
on
goodness.
things like on national events,
And just pick
and
what.
just throw a like on the side that you pick.
Oh my goodness.
It's like because they should be able to like curate the general sentiments that are
True.
coming out about news issues, right?
Hmm.
And like robot their way to a status, the same status that everybody's using.
It's actually a good idea.
And that way I don't have to read the same status from 1,000 different people.
Mhm.
And that should be a blockable offense. You should be kicked off of Facebook for making a status like that.
Oh man, people need their likes.
Yeah, but I want to get away from that. No likes. Likes are ruining the
I've
world.
thought about that, man. Because Instagram is crazy, but
Yeah.
nobody comments on anything.
No. You just throw a like on it and move.
Hmm.
That's what I do.
I try to comment on things.
I haven't commented on a single Instagram thing, I don't think. Maybe twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so lazy.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not real engage. Like it looks like people are like engaging with you and stuff, but it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Snapchat doesn't have likes, right?
No.
The problem with Snapchat is it came out too late for me.
You
So I
couldn't.
can't like start on day one of Snapchat. I don't know what to do.
Just follow Hassan.
Okay, then what?
I don't know. He'll ask you a question and you'll have a conversation.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Remember when y'all were best friends?
Yeah. He actually messaged me on Facebook
Oh yeah?
recently, but then he asked for a favor
Hmm.
from, well, not really a favor. He was just asking like a friend of his is moving to
Oh,
the DC area and job stuff.
so it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine because it's not like I reached out.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, we're equal. He might be like a quarter point better than me. But yeah, weird how life happens, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Quickly separate into your own thing.
Yeah, people just, you know, but people are so important to you at certain times in your life.
Yeah, they really are. They're pivotal.
Like I remember when Pokemon came out and he got Pokemon Red, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, that's great. And I biked over to their house from Albion.
Yeah.
I know. And I was like, I got it because I was like, I got to see this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I didn't know how I was getting back.
Yeah.
I think either mom or Barker or something ended up having to pick me up the next day
Oh my
because
God.
I was gonna bike back. That was a far bike ride,
Mm-hmm.
but I made it. Um, now I'm sure I didn't tell anyone I was going or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that moment was so important at the time,
Yeah.
and it's just nothing now. I mean, it's historically it's important for me, but it's just nothing today. And that's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the as far as like adulthood, that transition into adulthood that's the biggest weird point to me about it is how big things were and how small they become.
Yeah.
You know, you think about how excited you would be to have cheese pizza at lunch.
No, there was whole songs for
Yeah, there's a whole musical rendition about it. But like you think that's such a small thing,
uh,
and it brought so much joy.
mm-hmm. Didn't have to eat peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, a cup of peanut butter
Oh my
on white
gosh.
bread,
It was terrible.
choke sandwiches. Yeah, and you, yeah, and so you there's so much joy with that. And then how do you manufacture that joy? Think about what would have to happen for you to get that kind of joy today.
Something humongous.
Yeah,
Then it wouldn't even last.
yeah. And so for your and it's so here's the problem with consumerism.
Mm-hmm.
Buying stuff, having stuff, gifts,
Yeah.
things is the more you like once you have something, the next level of it has to be that much bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger. And then you just have to keep building. You start early with stuff and you end up just chasing this dragon of bigger, better, bigger, better.
Yep.
And you can't keep up.
That's what Apple's running into.
Yeah.
They can't do much more with the phone.
But do something different. They have to
They reinvented a Face ID thing when touch to open worked perfectly fine.
right.
Just because they needed something else.
Right. But I mean, my Samsung already has face recognition.
Exactly.
It exists and it's fine. It's not that useful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, frankly, entering a password wasn't that hard either.
Mm. They're grasping at straws, man.
So, yeah, so why, why do we want more? Why do we do that?
Have to. You have to want to get better.
Is that it just it comes down to what else is there to do?
Um, I think so. I mean, I just think just think about how we see the economy. If it's not growing, it's not good. I think that's fundamentally our nature,
Yeah,
which is ridiculous. I mean, how can an economy just grow?
always grow. Well, because there's more people.
True, but still.
So it probably shouldn't grow at a rate above like population growth,
Uh-huh.
because anything further is probably fake
Yeah.
long term. But yeah, I mean, I struggle with like from I did take like economics classes obviously in when I was in college, and I still struggle with the idea of wealth growth, like the growing of the entire economic pie
Hmm.
rather than an extraction of resources from one group to another,
Yeah.
and that's essentially always what it is. And so the entire design of our society is okay, we stop exploiting one group and start exploiting another.
Hmm. Yeah, it's weird. You're not really creating anything.
And so when my professors and stuff would talk about that, I always felt like I was being lied to. Like it was like justification for morally bankrupt behavior.
Hmm.
Like, oh no, this is good for them to live in in terrible conditions, in the conditions that we provide them, because that without that from the company, then they wouldn't have jobs or wouldn't have an ability to support themselves.
Yeah.
And that feels like it's not true to me.
Well, they would find ways to live.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Is like I feel like that forces people to get stuck on this track that isn't necessarily good for
Yeah,
them.
for sure.
But I don't know. That's a whole different conversation.
Hmm.
And it's also I'm probably just stupid and can't understand that concept. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously I understand like things get better. So we have computers now. Like I use a computer, my entirety of my job is through a computer, right?
Hmm.
And before that existed, I would be a lot slower at my job and be a lot harder, and more people would have to be involved in my work.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be better if more people had to, if the profit margin at companies had to be smaller because more people had to get paid?
Yeah, in general, it would be better. But when one company has to go up with another company, then that's when things change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But so, but they go through that change,
Hmm.
and then what happens to all those people?
That's what I think about all the time.
The displacement effect is
Hmm.
serious, real, and on it's really not dealt with.
Hmm. Well, that's what it was. That's what I kept thinking about when I was in Connecticut last couple weeks ago. Just like everybody used to work at the mill, and now it doesn't exist.
Yeah, now what are they supposed to do?
Hmm. It doesn't work.
Work at McDonald's.
Exactly.
And then people clown you for working at McDonald's.
Hmm.
But what is you supposed to do? Except be excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's something fundamentally broken, I think, in that. So we've been developing at this rapid pace for, let's say, 100 years,
Hmm.
and there's been this huge displacement effect. Maybe there hasn't been, but it feels like there has been, and there's just lost people in our society.
Well, yeah. And
That's what Trump campaigned on.
yeah. I forgot who said it, but it's something to the effect of it gets harder and harder to be just a regular average person. Like you
Yeah.
have to be spectacular to make it.
Hmm.
You know, that's like the looming crisis is the low whatever education jobs market.
Yeah.
Like because even the people that work at McDonald's, they're juggling a lot of tasks.
Yeah. They've stripped away so many of the people who actually work there that now the person who has to work there has to do 100 things.
Hmm. So it's yeah, jobs are complicated, man.
So what do you do? How do you vote or impact change that accounts for that? And that's my question. That's my overarching
Hmm.
political thought.
I don't know, man. You can't just. I mean, the only thing you could do is give people things.
Yeah.
I don't
Is
think
that not okay?
it is, but we're not there yet because regular people, still have to work for their living.
Too many. That's the problem. Is regular people are haters.
Yeah, because nobody gives them anything, so they would hate on the program that gives people that have less.
Give people houses, man.
That's what I'm saying. You got capital.
There's
Where-
so much land.
There's a lot of land.
What does it take to build a house?
It doesn't take that much.
It's simple.
It really is simple. And if you could get people to build, if you could get like 10 people to build houses for each other and then they all live in 10 houses,
Yeah.
that'd be
How long does that take?
maybe a year. I mean, a month for each house.
You give people a year to just have off and build a house
Hmm.
for their pod.
Yeah.
Isn't that way better? Now they all own homes. And so people are, they're like, well, real estate prices go up. I think that's the problem.
Hmm.
The aim should be for real estate to be super cheap.
Why?
And so people get mad because they lose a bunch of wealth, and I have a $400,000 mortgage,
Hmm.
but now my house's value is $20,000 because of oversupply, and that's an extreme example. But isn't that better?
Yeah, it is. But the 400,000 guy's gonna be mad.
Eliminate his mortgage. Just
Oh man, if we weren't so capitalist, then sure.
shouldn't we get away from that? Take a break.
It's hard to break the habit, especially. Well, that's the thing. When people are winning at it, then of course they don't want to get a break from
Yeah, well, how many luxury apartment condos can exist?
Yeah, I wonder that as well.
I don't know. It's kind of like the food too. That's like these basic necessities that we have the capacity to create more than enough of: housing, food, not energy. So maybe not energy yet, but you have these things that theoretically should be really low cost and cheap to produce,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not. And that's where capitalism missed, or the way at least the way we did it or do it.
Yeah.
Don't invest in your house. Houses are a dime a dozen. You buy a house and expect it to appreciate in value. Come on.
How else are you supposed to gain wealth?
We're not. Don't gain wealth. Live and die. And then the next generation lives and dies, and you just keep going.
Okay.
Doesn't that seem weird that the housing prices just keep going up, and then they crash, and then they come back up?
Mm-hmm.
But like nobody wants to admit that houses shouldn't be expensive.
Well, it's a weird industry, man. A lot of speculation.
Yeah, it's all speculation. It's rent seeking, and it's gross. But it has to come. It has to crash,
Yeah, of course.
like catastrophically. And people are going to be so mad.
We're actually, me and Ashley were talking to some real estate guy today.
Mm.
And he said that there was actually a lot of analysts he follows said there was supposed to be a crash this year, or maybe just a hit at
Yeah.
least. But the tax thing kind of made us.
Yeah, steadied it out.
Yeah. But he said it's probably coming for 2019, 2020.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I've been waiting, kind of seeing the signs.
But I don't even want to crash. I don't want to crash like 2007. I want it to crash to the basement, to the cost of housing. You know, so that it's an efficient market to the so that you don't profit off of real estate.
Yeah, that always rubbed me the wrong way because you fantasize houses as these things you live in, but then there's a whole class that just wants to flip and rip and
Yeah,
like, come on, just have a house.
just have a home.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a premium, houses should be free.
Okay.
But it's like just a basic house. You allocated your basic house. And if you want a premium something,
Yeah.
you pay for that.
Yeah.
House isn't
I
much,
get that.
especially given how much time people actually spend at home.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you don't even need that much space anymore.
No. And VR gets real good.
Oh my gosh.
You don't need a house at all. You just need a box.
Climate control box.
Yeah. A storage unit. A storage unit and an internet connection. And you're good. But maybe that's just me.
No, there's a point in what you're saying. It might be a little extreme.
Huh?
It might be a little extreme, but there's a point to it.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't bought a house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It irks me
Hmm.
how expensive they are. Even cheap houses are like even you're saying like a mid $100,000 house. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Like that's not nothing. And if we didn't have mortgages that lasted 30 years, people would see the price up front and be like, okay, no, I'm not getting a house.
Hmm.
Although I think we should probably live in communes.
Vomit.
Think about it.
But you don't even like living with people.
No, I don't. But I feel like that's the most natural way to live. And this podcast has gone way too long,
Hmm.
disjointed, and probably should be like 4 different ones.
Yeah.
But like you think about a commune, like everybody has their own little. I mean, this is kind of the tiny house concept.
Yeah.
Is like everybody has their own personal space, but then you connect in a central point.
I agree. Because you just get a lot more done with.
Yeah, like everyone has their own kid. Do you know how many people are making dinner at night,
Hmm.
and what the incremental time is to make dinner for 10 people that it is to make it for one person? It's like the same.
Yeah, it's barely
It's
anything.
actually probably harder to cook for one than it is to cook for 10.
Yeah.
But everybody has a kitchen.
Yeah. It would be interesting if like an apartment complex had a chef.
Yeah. Hey guys, here's what's for dinner tonight.
Hmm.
It's the smartest thing you ever said.
Oh my goodness. I take offense to that.
No, it's not the smartest thing you ever read. But it's a good idea.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like that's a luxury apartment.
Hmm.
Don't tell me I have a fake balcony and that's a luxury.
Yeah.
Luxury apartment is I can come home from work and somebody's made dinner for my apartment complex.
Yeah.
It's a dorm. It's like dorm living, but nicer.
Yeah.
So why doesn't that exist?
It should. I mean, these companies are always trying to come up with new gimmicks. And I can't imagine it would be not cost effective. You could
Right.
upcharge it, paying for things, food in bulk, so it's not expensive.
Yeah. I mean, restaurants should be cheap,
Hmm.
but they want to give you all the so you know restaurants always want to serve you,
Yeah,
and so they make it a thing, and now you got to pay for it.
I hate that. I
But they
really,
don't have like nice restaurants where you can just grab your food.
yeah, that's the problem.
Like I want a nice meal, but I don't want to go through this song and dance with a waiter
Hmm.
and then have to pay them for it for something I didn't want in the first place.
Hmm.
But that's what take. I guess that's what takeout is. But I also want to sit down.
Yeah, I like to enjoy the
Yeah,
environment.
I don't want to like eat out of Tupperware, or not Tupperware or styrofoam.
Yeah.
I want a plate, but I don't want to have to go through this like exercise of, oh, we ain't doing a break.
Uh huh.
No, you guys have decided on what you wanted.
You gotta wait for them to come
No,
back, and
I'll loop back around.
yeah, it's
Oh, we
just.
have specials tonight. You want to hear about? We have a menu, and like, don't even give me the menu. There should be a menu. That's actually my favorite. What our favorite restaurant we went used to go down in Fredericksburg, Foodie. They changed their concept, but
Mhm.
you would order at the table. or you not the table, but you order at like the register. But it was a sit down place. You'd order at the register, and then they give you they tell you what seat was yours, and you'd sit
Mhm.
there, and they would bring you your food.
Oh, nice.
There was no tipping, no goofy stuff. The drinks, like you get tea or something. It was just a thing of tea that you would, you
Yeah.
know, and there wasn't circumstance about it.
Yeah.
It was great. And it was nice food. Like it was actually kitchen prepared food. It wasn't fast food that had been sitting in a hot thing for whatever drying out.
That's a good concept.
And I don't know why every restaurant isn't like that. Like I don't know what I'm missing or what thing I'm missing that makes the additional service worse.
Maybe it's risky.
Hmm.
Maybe it's just risky to be different.
Maybe. Was everything okay?
What am I going to say? No?
Yeah, well, exactly. It was fine. Like I wish you could just say, look,
Mm,
here's what I want, don't come back.
yeah.
Or call in, say, here's the things that I want. I'll be there at 7
Hmm.
and I want a table. Like when you make a reservation, you can order
Yeah.
and they just bring the stuff up.
Not bad, man.
You guys want a refill on anything? Will you be having dessert tonight?
Oh my
I
God.
hate that.
The worst.
Isn't it?
You guys same room for dessert, right?
Oh, oh.
Mm.
Why would I have to say that? I hate it. I don't like service.
Yeah. I'm kind of at my wit's end with restaurants in general
Oh,
since
I bet.
I have to be at them a lot.
Yeah, I bet. So what do you do?
Well, I eat Subway a lot now.
Yeah, that's quick and efficient. But I feel like it
Yeah.
all tastes the same.
Yeah. Not good options. But I'm not I don't need much diversity in my food.
Mm.
I'm famously a spinach and rice and beans guy.
Yeah. That's the way to live. Rice and beans, man.
Hmm.
I was talking about it, I think with like Aaron yesterday, or one of the last few days. Like rice and beans is a good option to always eat.
Yeah. Gets you there.
That's like always good.
Great energy. Makes your poop nice.
Yeah, that is not good. You can throw a little hot sauce on it, and it's fine.
Mhm. Yeah.
So why do I go out to a restaurant? Because I feel like I have to,
Hmm.
just to be eating somewhere else.
Hmm.
Ah, I gotta figure it out. I just say I can't believe how many exist.
Yeah.
You know how many like how many restaurants there are that serve burgers? How many places do you need that serve burgers?
Maybe there's a lot of people that are eating them.
Well, yeah, they are, but that's just doesn't seem
No.
necessary. And I don't understand how most business stay afloat as it is.
Me neither. I wonder that all the time. Like you have to have this certain amount of turnover to be
Yeah,
profitable. Every day you have to do that?
yeah. Every day you have to be making sales.
Hmm.
Like, why wouldn't there be multiple days where nobody comes in?
Yeah.
You know, think about being a car salesman
Hmm.
and that's still a job. Like, so you have all this inventory on the lot, and you have to sell most of them, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so you're counting on walk-ins, customers repeat buy. Like, but how often are you just not even close?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to sell anything this month, and then I'm gonna get fired
Hmm.
to bring in somebody else who's not going to sell anything this month. So why is that a job? Why would you keep showing up for work? Because maybe something good will happen and somebody will randomly be walking in to buy a car, a
Uh-huh.
whole car.
It happens.
It does. I've been that guy.
Well, that's the thing that confounded me before I started working in home building. Like, how many people are actually just going to buy a house?
Yeah.
The salespeople just have these numbers of people. They're just expecting 20 people to buy a house in this subdivision this month.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Where are they going to come from? They each have to make that
That's a
independent
big
decision.
purchase.
Yeah. Like, how sure are you that that number isn't none?
Uh-huh.
Like, people are going to buy. They have to move.
Hmm.
They each have to have made the individual decision to move, and then specifically here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a good podcast.
Hmm. You know my politics yet?
I think so.
All right.
I think you answered my question.
It served its purpose.
Yeah.